So it looks like Samsung is getting ready to launch the brand new S26 FE. That is their fan edition of their more popular flagship lineup, the Samsung Galaxy S26 lineup. I have not been a big fan of the fan edition line of phones and or tablets, and it's mainly because of one reason. Now, on this upcoming S26 FE, it's going to be because of two reasons. So, with the fan edition is essentially a watered down version of an already flagship product that Samsung has put out. And what watered down means is that they reduce the specs, cut costs to try and make a profit on said device. I never ever recommend the fan edition phones or tablets. And it's traditionally been because of one spec that they choose to minimize in order to save costs and maximize their profits, and that's with RAM. So I've used one fan edition phone, and then after using it, I said, you know what? I'm never going to do this again. Now, if you're interested in purchasing this S26 FE, I'm going to give you an alternative, but we're going to do that here in a minute. And what Samsung does is they reduce the RAM in these phones. In the flagship phones, they typically run 12 gigs of RAM. In the fan edition phones, as of lately, they only run 8 gigs of RAM. And I believe the S23 FE that I had only had 6 gigs of RAM, because you got to remember, Samsung switched to 12 gigs of RAM just on all their flagship models, maybe just, I think, 2 years ago. So when I used the FE, it had 2 gigs less at 6 gigs. Now, if anybody has used a Samsung mobile device with One UI, you know it is jam packed, full of features, full of settings, full of customizations. They really do put a lot into One UI, and it is a really nice operating system. But with that being said, that's essentially why I tell people to stay away from FE models. The least amount of RAM that I can use is 12. Once you go below that, you start running into issues. 8 gigs is certainly not enough. What you're going to run into is you're going to run into stuttering problems. You're going to run into every now and then, you're going to have the operating system hiccup or glitch, or you're trying to do a couple operations real quick and it's going to feel like it may stutter in between app launches, or you're trying to close this app and open up this app and it might stutter. Those are due to RAM issues. I can almost bet you that they're going to put a older UFS storage in there, which complicates things and maximizes, increases that stuttering effect. I'm just not a big fan of the FE models. Now, not only are they going to reduce the RAM and put 8 gigs of RAM in there, they're also putting, dun dun dun, the Exynos 2500 CPU powering this device. I know before you say anything, I get it. The Exynos 2500 is not that bad of a CPU, but here's my main issue, and I think some of my subscribers know where I'm going with this. It uses the Samsung Exynos, believe it's 5400 modem. This phone will not get, I repeat, this new S26 FE will not get T-Mobile's new 5G network. It will not get AT&T's new 5G network, a true 5G network. The modem in there just doesn't pick it up. So you'll be able to get, it'll say 5G on the notification bar, but in actuality, it's not getting the newest network. And if you're going to invest, if you're going to get a new phone, if you're going to hang on to a phone for, I don't know, a few years, you're going to want a device that gets T-Mobile's new 5G network. And you might not even have T-Mobile. You might have Mint Mobile. Well, guess what? Mint Mobile uses T-Mobile network. Or if you use AT&T, or let's say you use Cricket, you're going to want a device that gets the very best network possible, and this is just not it. Now, the Exynos 2500 CPU, again, is very capable, but when you pair it with 8 gigs of RAM with a very hefty operating system like One UI, that is a bad combination. And here's why. You might not notice stuttering or hiccups in the first month or two of having it. It might run smooth at the very beginning, and I'm sure it will. But here's where it gets you is 4, 5, 6 months down the line, 8, 9, 10 months down the line. That's when you're going to see stuttering. You're going to be way past your return window. It's not a good combination. So if you want a good alternative, I think the very best thing to do is purchase the last year's flagship phone over this year's brand new FE. Because what is this going to launch at? We don't know, but guessing it's going to launch at like $699, maybe $599, with pre-order deals or specials. Hell, T-Mobile or these carriers might even offer it for free, right? But if I were you, I would get a nice used S25 Plus, because this size, the S26 FE, the size wise, it's going to be like 6.6 inches. So it's going to be a hair smaller than the Plus model, but it's still going to be big enough. It's not going to be considered a small phone. So your best alternatives, just get a year-old flagship and thank me later. A 1-year-old flagship is going to be way better than this brand new S26 FE. It's got way more RAM. It's got that CPU in there that'll last you for years. It has the Qualcomm Snapdragon X80 modem in there, which does get T-Mobile's new 5G network. It does get AT&T's new 5G network. It is worth it. You're not going to want to get this FE. Trust me, it's best. Shoot, you can even find some good deals on like an S26 Plus, even though the prices are still probably pretty high and probably still over what the cost of a brand new S26 FE is. So my best thing for you to do, alternative, is go look for an S25 Plus. I can promise you, you're definitely going to want that because it has 12 gigs of RAM in there. Has a Snapdragon CPU, right? I've heard some people complain. I've used a device with the Exynos 2500 CPU in there, and it did get a little warm. It wasn't overheating, hot to the touch, but it'll get warm in your hand, trust me. And it's on one of the flips. Please, I beg your pardon. I have so much information going through and usually I'm pretty good with memory, but it was in one of the flips. You can Google it, but you're going to want the Snapdragon CPU over this Exynos CPU, and you're going to thank me later. So jump on Swappa. Even if you're going to get it at the carrier and you're going to say, well, I was going to get it free from T-Mobile. Well, I think they still sell the S25 Plus at T-Mobile. I believe they do. And even if they don't, go for the S26 Plus, or maybe your sister or your brother was thinking about doing it, or maybe your mom or dad was thinking of upgrading, and don't let T-Mobile talk you in, or any of these carriers talk you into the FE. Just avoid it at all costs and thank me later. Stay away from these. So if you got any questions on the FE, any questions whatsoever, what should I get if I'm not going to get this, or what phone is best replacement for that? Let me know. I love talking phones. I love talking technology, and I'm just a comment away. I check them all day, every day. So I do appreciate the time. Stay away from this S26 FE. You've been warned.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, on my way to a brand new kit.